34F have been married to my husband, Liam, 36, and married for 7 years. We have 2 children together, ages 6 and 4. And until 2 weeks ago, I thought we had a solid, even if routine, marriage. We both work full-time, we split the parenting duties, and we rarely fight. Nothing ever seemed off until I found the hotel receipt. It wasn't hidden. In fact, it was sticking out of the inner pocket of his winter jacket. I wasn't snooping. I was looking for the house keys he always forgets to hang up. I wasn't even paying attention until I noticed the hotel's name, the Grandview Inn, not a name I recognized. I opened the receipt. 1 night, executive suite. 1 guest, paid in cash. The date, 2 days before our anniversary. My heart stopped. I didn't know what to think. Liam had told me he was working late that night. Something about a supplier crisis and emergency stock orders. I remember ordering takeout and falling asleep on the couch, annoyed but understanding. But now, that night I didn't confront him. I just kept replaying everything in my head. Could it be for a surprise? A gift? A retreat? But our anniversary had passed without anything special. He just brought home a grocery store bouquet and we had wine on the couch. The next day, I took the receipt to my best friend Carla. She's always been brutally honest. Her first words were, "That's sketchy as hell." She encouraged me to do some digging. I didn't want to, but I also couldn't sleep. So I checked our joint credit card statements. Nothing suspicious. Then I checked the location of that hotel. It was only 25 minutes from our house. Why book a room there for 1 night and lie about it? I finally decided to call the hotel. I used a different name and asked if I could confirm a past guest booking for tax purposes. The receptionist hesitated, but after I gave the date and room number from the receipt, she said, "Yes, Mr. Liam Chenuig stayed here for 1 night. He checked in with a woman." She couldn't give me her name, just that she signed the guest book too. I felt like I was going to be sick. But the worst part? I still haven't told him what I know. I've been pretending everything is fine while I spiral internally. I've been watching how he talks to me, how he hugs the kids, how he smiles at his phone when he thinks I'm not looking. I don't know what's real anymore. Should I confront him? Should I wait? What if there's more? Or worse, what if it's not what I think? I feel like I'm in a movie, a bad one. And I'm terrified for what comes next. I finally confronted Liam. I couldn't take it anymore. For 3 days, I barely slept. I kept replaying the phone call with the hotel, imagining what he was doing in that suite, picturing every possible betrayal. So I waited until the kids were at my mom's house. I told him I needed to talk. He was making coffee when I laid the receipt on the kitchen table. He looked at it, then at me. His face went pale. "Where did you get that?" he asked, like I had stolen something. I said, "Just tell me the truth." At first, he denied everything. Said he'd booked the room for a friend from work who needed a place to stay during a divorce, that it was a favor. I asked him why he paid in cash, why he lied about working late, why he didn't just tell me. He got defensive, said I was overreacting and paranoid. I was shaking, not just from rage, but from something worse, doubt. Because part of me wanted to believe him. I wanted to think I was wrong. But then something happened that shattered any remaining illusion. Later that night after he fell asleep, I remembered something odd. When he came back from that late work night, his phone was dead and he said he left his charger at work. I thought nothing of it then. So while he slept, I checked his work bag. And I found it, a second phone. It wasn't the same model as his usual one. It had a cracked case and no fingerprint lock. My hands were trembling when I opened it. Only a few apps. No social media, but lots of messages and photos. I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. There were messages from someone saved as M. Long conversations, flirty, romantic, sexual. One thread made my blood freeze. I wish I could fall asleep next to you every night. Liam, soon, I promise. She's starting to get suspicious. She meant me. The most recent message was from the same day I confronted him. M had written, "Did she ask anything yet? You said she was acting weird." I couldn't read anymore. I didn't wake him. I just sat in the dark, staring at him sleeping like nothing had happened. Like he wasn't living 2 lives. I still haven't told him I found the second phone. I don't know what I'm going to do. But this isn't just cheating. This feels like betrayal on another level. And I have a terrible feeling this is just the beginning. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Every time I looked at Liam, I saw the texts, the lies, the plans he was making with someone else. And the worst part? She thought I was already out of the picture. I did something reckless. I copied her number from the second phone. Then I texted her from my own number, pretending to be a friend of Liam's. Who needed to talk? She replied quickly. Her name is Marissa. She's 29, works in marketing, lives in the same city as us. We met for coffee. I told her I was a friend of Liam's, someone concerned. I asked her, casually, how long they'd been seeing each other. She said, almost a year. He told me his wife left him last summer. I nearly dropped my cup. She had no idea I still lived with him, that we were still married, that we shared a bed, that we were raising 2 kids together. I asked her why she believed him. She said she'd been to the apartment. He claimed it was temporary, that he was sorting custody stuff, and I was only there part-time. She saw kids' drawings on the fridge and assumed they were from visits. Then she said something that made me feel physically ill. He told me you cheated first, that you ran off with someone from your gym. I stared at her. I couldn't even speak. She looked confused, then scared, and finally, devastated. That's when I told her the truth. We were never separated. I never cheated. I never left. Everything he told her, all of it, was a lie. Marissa started crying, right there in the cafe. She said, "Oh my God." I thought he was the honest one. My ex cheated on me. I believed him. I believed him too, I said. Before she left, she apologized. Not that she owed me anything. She gave me her number and said, "I'll tell you anything you want to know. Just promise me you'll protect your kids." That line broke me, because until that moment I was still thinking maybe I could fix this. Maybe Liam made a mistake. Maybe I wasn't enough, but now I saw the full truth. He wasn't just cheating, he was replacing me, lying to 2 women, manipulating us both, and God knows who else is in the shadows. I went home that night and sat in the driveway for 45 minutes, just staring at the front door, because inside that house was a man who looked like my husband, but I don't know who he is anymore. After meeting Marissa, I went home feeling hollow, like someone had scooped me out and left the shell. But I couldn't stop. I needed to know more. I had to know the whole truth. The next day, while Liam was working late again, I checked our shared laptop. He often used it for quick browsing. And sure enough, he was still logged into his email. And that's when I found the Airbnb bookings. There were several, different cities, weekend dates, some just a few weeks apart. One of them, an upcoming reservation for today, was for a place called Eden Retreat, only 25 minutes away from our house. I checked the confirmation. Booked under Liam Harris. Guest count 2. My hands were shaking. I looked at the time. It was 3:12 p.m. Check-in had been at noon. He told me he was at a client's office until dinner. He even said, "Don't wait up, babe. Might be late again." So I made a choice. I grabbed my keys and drove. The Eden Retreat was a modern Airbnb rental inside a private villa complex. It looked more like a boutique hotel. Quiet, minimal signage. I walked in pretending to look lost and made my way to the front counter. A woman behind the desk smiled. "Can I help you?" I said, "I'm meeting my husband. I think he already checked in. Harris?" She typed something. "Yes, Mr. Liam Harris. At 2:03, he checked in alone. But a woman is scheduled to arrive shortly. Do you want me to call up for you?" I froze. I shook my head. "No, thank you. I'll just wait." But I didn't. I walked outside, sat in my car, and stared at the door. He was there, right now, in that room. I didn't know if it was Marissa or someone else, and I suddenly realized something far worse. What if she wasn't the only one? He didn't just cheat. He built a life of lies, used Airbnb as his playground. He told me he was going to therapy, that he needed space. He was literally paying for time away to be someone else. I couldn't cry. Not anymore. I just drove home. And as I parked in our driveway, the house looked different, smaller, empty, like it had been hollowed out the same way I was. I don't know who this man is, but I know one thing. I'm done being his shadow. After the Airbnb incident, I couldn't just sit still. I needed answers, not just about what Liam was doing now, but who he really was. because I was starting to believe I never actually knew him at all. I remembered something he once let slip early in our relationship. Something I brushed off at the time. He mentioned an ex-fiancée. They were engaged before me. He said it ended badly but never gave details. Claimed she cheated, and that he walked away with nothing but emotional scars. That was all he ever said. Until now I never thought to question it. But now I wondered, was that even true? It took me 2 days, a Facebook rabbit hole, and a lot of Google stalking, but I found her. Her name is Alyssa Carter. She lives 2 hours away. Still goes by her maiden name. Works at a nonprofit. I messaged her. I was polite. I told her who I was, that I was married to Liam Harris, and that I had some concerns. To my surprise, she agreed to meet. And what she told me made my blood run cold. They weren't just engaged. They were about to get married when she found out Liam had cheated on her with 3 different women. But it didn't stop there. He had taken money from her savings account, over $6,000, claiming it was for their honeymoon. She never saw a dime of it again. When she confronted him, he gaslit her, told her she was imagining things, that she was paranoid, that she had abandonment issues. She said the worst part wasn't the betrayal. It was how convincing he was, how easily he cried, how he made her question her own reality. Sound familiar? I told her everything that had happened with me. The hotel receipt, the second phone, Marissa, the Airbnb. She nodded slowly, like she had heard it all before. He doesn't just cheat, she said. He creates entire alternate lives. You're not the first. I doubt you'll be the last. I asked her why she never warned anyone. She laughed bitterly. I tried. He always stays 1 step ahead. He's charming. He plays the victim. By the time you realize who he is, he's already moved on to the next story. I drove home shaking. This wasn't just infidelity. This wasn't even just betrayal. This was emotional con artistry. I had built a life with a man who has done this before, who never stopped, who knew exactly what he was doing. Now I have to ask my after meeting Alyssa. I stopped crying. Something shifted in me. I realized I'd spent weeks, maybe even years, playing defense, trying to keep the peace, ignoring red flags, telling myself it wasn't that bad. But it was that bad, and now I was going to start playing offense. I didn't confront Liam when he came home that night. I kissed him on the cheek, asked how work was, smiled like I didn't know he'd just spent the afternoon in bed with someone else. He told me he was tired. I told him to get some rest. I started documenting everything. Screenshots of texts on the second phone, photos of the Airbnb receipts and hotel bills, audio recordings of our conversations where he lied to me, emails between him and clients that didn't exist, even a video of him entering the Eden retreat while telling me he was stuck in traffic. I created a digital folder and backed it up to the cloud, with a timed release link sent to my sister in case anything happened to me. I wasn't being paranoid. I was being smart. Then I made my first move. I went to a lawyer. Turns out Liam and I had a prenup drafted when we married because he was the one with money back then. But now I earn more. I own more. And guess what? That prenup works against him now. My lawyer told me, if we can prove adultery and financial misconduct, you'll walk away with nearly everything, especially if he's using marital funds to cheat. He was. I already had the credit card statements and the cash withdrawals to prove it. But I wasn't done yet. I reached out to Marissa, sent her some of the evidence. She was horrified and agreed to write a sworn statement about what Liam told her, how he lied about me, and how he used our children as props in his story. She even offered to testify in court. I thanked her, and meant it. The best part? Liam had no idea. He still thought I was confused, emotional, fragile. He still kissed me goodbye before work and told me he loved me. And I smiled and said it back, and because soon, very soon, he's gonna lose everything he thought he could keep. The question I've been avoiding. What else don't I know? Liam turned 37 last Saturday. He had no idea what was coming. He planned a small dinner at a trendy restaurant downtown. Just a few close friends. His sister and me. He told me, keep it low-key this year, babe. Just you being there is enough. Right. I bet it was. Because I knew Marissa would be there too. He thought I didn't know. I played along. I even helped decorate the table. I brought a cake. I smiled at everyone like I wasn't about to detonate a bomb in the middle of dessert. When she walked in, hair curled, heels tall, wearing a necklace I bought last Christmas, I nearly choked. She paused when she saw me. She looked like she'd seen a ghost. But I just smiled and said, "You must be Marissa. I've heard so much." She nodded slowly, sat down, didn't say a word the whole time. Liam, oblivious, laughing, toasting, telling, stories like he hadn't destroyed multiple lives. Until the waiter brought out the cake, and instead of candles, he brought a manila envelope. "Mr. Harris?" "Yes." "You've been served." It was like time stopped. Everyone froze. Liam looked confused. Then he opened it. Inside, divorce papers, a full list of his infidelities, statements from Marissa and Alyssa, screenshots, photos, bank statements, a note from me that simply said, "You should have picked a smarter lie." His face turned white, then red, then pale again. Marissa stood up. She looked at me and mouthed, "Thank you." Then she walked out. His sister asked, "What the hell is going on?" And I said calmly, clearly, "Ask your brother how many women he's promised a future to this year. I'm done being one of them." Then I walked out too. I drove home in silence. No music. Just the quiet thrill of freedom vibrating through me. I don't know what he did afterward. I don't care. All I know is, he never came home that night. It's been 3 weeks since I served Liam divorce papers. In that time, he moved out. He tried calling, texting, begging. I blocked him everywhere. He was fired from his job. Turns out he was lying to them too. His sister won't speak to him. Marissa, she filed a restraining order after he showed up at her office uninvited. He lost the house, the car, joint savings, and 50% custody pending a psychological evaluation. My lawyer is confident I'll get primary custody. The court has everything. The evidence, the statements, the financial misconduct. It's all documented. Everyone keeps telling me I won, that I got my revenge, that I played it perfectly. But can I tell you the truth? I don't feel free. I feel tired. Because for 7 years I gave my life to someone who was only ever pretending. I shared my body, my secrets, my home with a man who treated our marriage like a stage set. He played the part, said the right things, smiled at the kids, and all the while he was building lives outside of ours, planting lies like seeds, watching them grow behind my back. I don't miss him. I miss the idea of him, the version I thought was real. That's the hardest part. The betrayal wasn't just in the cheating. It was in the ordinary moments, watching a movie together, brushing teeth side by side, singing to the kids before bed, while he was texting someone else under the table. But I'm healing, slowly. Some days I feel strong. Other days I feel like I'm floating in pieces. But I know this. I'd rather be alone in truth than married to a lie. I started therapy. I'm journaling. I'm showing up for my kids. I've started laughing again. Not much, not loud, but genuinely. And someday, when they're old enough to understand, I'll tell them the truth. Not about the cheating, not about the rage, but about how important it is to never shrink yourself for someone who doesn't respect your light. Liam thought he was smart, calculated, untouchable. But the one thing he underestimated? Me, the end.